Hello and welcome to Dawn Chorus Writes, a Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction and audiofic. This is a new series, The Princess and the Cheese, and it's written by Jheqia, narrated by Dawn myself. Hello! And it is also a writing prompt by Alicia, so massive shout out to her too. Massive shout out and thank you very much for the commissioned artwork by Arkatza in the thumbnail. So make sure you go and give her some love. All her information is listed down below. Make sure you give Jheqia some love for writing it. And make sure you give me some love by smashing that like button. Comment down below what you think of it and what will happen in the next chapter. And make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on this one and other series and other one-shots that are happening at the moment. And enjoy. Chapter 2. Cat and Mouse. Strangely, luck was on his side once more as both he and Marinette had a free period before lunch. Maybe not having Plagg around isn't so bad, Adrien thought as he and Marinette went to the library together. My luck is holding for a change, or maybe it's Marinette. She gave me my lucky charm after all. Things could have been much worse, he realised. Plagg could have gone to any of his friends and wreaked so much havoc, especially if it was Nino or Alia or worse, Ladybug. But no, Plagg went to Marinette, his good friend as well as the one-time holder of the Mouse Miraculous. She could be trusted, even if things went wrong on him yet again. The question was, how to get into her purse without her noticing. Maybe he could just ask her? No. Didn't girls keep private things in their purses? Not that he knew anything about that, but he doubted the upfront approach would turn out well this time. Adrien? His eyes snapped back from the middle distance and found her staring at him, as his hand held the handle of the library door. Oh, of course. He opened the door for her and bowed slightly. After you, partner. Pull yourself together, Aggress, or you'll give it all away, and what would Ladybug say? No need to give her another reason to reject you. Marinette blushed deeply at the gesture and tucked her head between her shoulders as she went ahead of him. A flash of how flustered she got earlier in the class crossed his mind. Could he get her flustered enough to give him access to the little cretin who was hiding in her bag? Well, I know she just sees me as a friend, but she seems to get nervous whenever I act vaguely flirtatious, but never around me as Cat Noir. Then she just brushes it off, maybe because she thinks I'm not serious? Who knows, but it might be worth a shot. So? She stammered softly, interrupting his train of thought. And peace on Ari, Marinette? With 3 sources? You mean Maria Antoinette? He corrected with a smile. She was making this too easy. His smile slid into a smirk as he leaned in and lowered his voice even further. Does that mean your opinion is that she was just a puppet? Her eyes widened in surprise. Adrien swallowed hard. He rubbed the back of his neck. Sorry, he murmured. That was a bad joke. I was just trying to make you laugh. She giggled, and the smile that resulted was bright and sweet. It wasn't that bad. I was just surprised. I didn't know you liked puns. Playing around with words and their meaning is kind of a game I play sometimes, he replied, feeling himself relaxing despite his nervousness. That was just the effect Marinette had on him. If someone could bottle the essence of friendship as a perfume, then they would have to call it Marinette, and it would smell like cherry blossoms and brown sugar. She went out of her way to help everyone and put them at ease. That was just the kind of person she was. Well, let's get a head start on our project, shall we? She said with a mischievous glance at him. He chuckled in appreciation. Good one. She smiled nervously and scurried away to the history section. Plagg's face sticked out through the side of her purse to waggle his tongue at him. He went to the aisle next to her and spied on her through the books. Adrien laughed at my joke, she squealed quietly, spinning on her toes with a happy smile. He wanted me to be his partner. Of course he did, Plagg's voice muttered. You're amazing. Cat Noir always says so. But why do you pun with that kid, but not Cat? She pulled one book off the shelf and sighed. It's not that I don't like Cat's puns. It's just that he tends to go overboard sometimes, and between the puns and the flirting, it can be hard to take him seriously. That Adrien kid was flirting too, you know, Plagg whispered slyly. If I've learned anything from Cat's anime films, that hand-slamming thing is straight off the screen. Figures, she muttered, and he saw her roll her eyes. Then she stopped and stared down in her open purse. Wait, Adrien was flirting? With me? Oh yeah, can't you tell? He heard her clear her throat and her face turned red. Her voice lowered even further and he leaned closer to hear. It's not like I have much experience with guys flirting with me, except for Cat, and I know he doesn't mean it. Says who? Plagg grunted. You should hear him talk about you. It's always princess this and princess that, going on and on. I think he has a thing for you, to be honest, but want to mill it to himself because of Ladybug. Cat likes me? Marinette, are you sure, Plagg? Why would I lie to you, kid? Besides, you are one of the few people he really trusts, which means I trust you too. She sniffled and started looking at the titles on the shelves, getting back to the projects. Not that you have much choice at the moment. Oh, believe me, princess, I know exactly what I'm doing. There was another one of those smack sounds and Marinette giggled. You're just a little softy, aren't you? She cooed as she pulled another book off the shelf and headed back for the reading area. Adrien gritted his teeth. The little cheese mongrel was stealing his moves. He kept kissing Marinette's hand. If the Black Cat of Paris was going to be kissing Marinette, it was going to be him. After all, she was his friend first. And where did Plagg get off on telling her Cat liked her? That was supposed to be private, even if he was trying to get over Ladybug and move on. He growled under his breath. Ugh. He would get Plagg back and then ask his partner for appropriate method, which would be to punish the little menace. She was a guardian after all. She had to know something that would keep Plagg's mouth in check. But first, he had to get his Kwami back. He grabbed a random book from the shelf and followed Marinette back to the study area. She had picked a table at the far end of the room with her back against the wall and her purse pointed towards the corner. Smart. She's planning ahead in case Plagg causes problems. That's my everyday Ladybug. Marinette saw him approach and waved shyly at him. Instead of sitting across from her as she surely expected, he sat down next to her. He put the book he had grabbed on the table and casually put his arm on the back of her chair. She glanced wide-eyed at his arm and then hurriedly turned to the small stack of books she had brought. So, I have found a few things that might help. What do you think? What about you? He leaned in and smiled one of his modelling smiles at her, the kind where Vincent would tell him to imagine he was staring at his love. It was easier with Marinette than with a camera. Her eyes were a beautiful shade of blue, like the sky over Paris in the crisp air of autumn, and she smelled like cherry blossoms and brown sugar. Oh, right. He was supposed to say something. Yeah, I've found something too. He heard her breath catch in her throat, and that rosy hue painted her cheeks again. I did that, Adrien thought, feeling a warm rush inside at the acknowledgement. I'm getting to her, flustering her. Maybe I can do this after all. Adrien? Yes, Marinette? Her breathing quickened, and she smiled nervously at him and tapped the book in front of him. I'm sure it's a good read, but I don't think Tricyon Greek satire is going to help us with Marie Antoinette. He blinked and looked down at the book under his fingers. Lucian and the history of Greek satire was not going to help him with either of his problems right now. Adrien blushed and rubbed the back of his neck in embarrassment. I guess I was kind of distracted. Marinette blushed again. Well, we should probably get to it, right? Yeah. She passed him one of her 2 books and opened her own, looking for appropriate chapters. Instead of doing the same, he leaned closer to her to look over her shoulder. Her neck and the tips of her ears turned pink as well as her cheeks, and she kept twirling her pencil around in her hands. He could hear her shallow, nervous breath she was taking. He could hear the shallow, nervous breaths she was taking. You okay, Marinette? He asked softly, his breath stirring the strands of hair that always fell in front of her ears, and he felt a shiver. Yep, she squeaked. I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I? Nope, she shrieked, dropping her pencil and earning them a nasty look and loud shh from the librarian. No, oh, good, she whispered, her smile twitching at the corners. He smiled that supermodel smile again and watched her expression soften under his influence. Good. Now, if I can just get her distracted by the book, maybe I can slide my hand down her arm and open the purse, Adrien thought. He knew he was running out of time before the bell would ring, signaling lunch break, and he wanted to get this done. He felt strange doing this to Marinette, and not because it felt wrong either. Okay, the hiding stuff from her felt wrong, but the flirting, holding her shoulders like this, leaning in closer to her, all felt good. More than good. They felt right. Seeing her nervous smile melt away when he looked at her had set a host of butterflies' wings in his chest. Slowly she turned back to the book, but it felt more like some sort of waiting game between them to see what would happen next. He pretended to look at the book, but really kept his eyes on her. Slowly, he slid his hand down her arm, leaning in further to distract her from it. Just as he felt the snap of a purse beneath his fingers, the bell rang, signaling the end of the period. Marinette launched from her chair like a rocket, the table banging against her knees and the only thing keeping her from leaping into the air. She whimpered softly at the impact, but her wide, strained smile never faltered. That's the bell for lunch, she squeaked. Marinette, do you still want to have lunch with me? Adrien was starting to feel desperate now, not to mention angry and jealous that Plagg was spilling Cat's secrets to Marinette when he couldn't. He would have loved to be able to tell her that he was Cat Noir, to have someone he trusted completely know what he was going through. She had fought Shadow Moth too, I bet from only one day, and had revealed herself to him as Multi-Mouse, but that was hardly her fault. Marinette was so sympathetic and sweet and kind. He would be able to share his worries with her, his heartache over being pushed away, and how all he wanted to be was needed and wanted and useful to someone. He wouldn't have to bring his crush on her into it. They were just good friends. It didn't matter how pretty she was, or how amazing or kind, or how she always smelled of flowers and sugar, or how the sunlight reflected off her black hair in tints of midnight and sapphire, or how her eyes were like autumn skies he could fly through forever. No. Marinette has made it clear she doesn't see me that way, and I have to respect that. I wouldn't want to lose her from my life because I pushed too hard, not like Ladybug is doing to me. Besides, Marinette is so amazing. What do I have to offer her that isn't superficial? Sure, I'm Cat Noir, but other than that, under all the supermodel trappings, I'm just Adrien. Adrien? His world suddenly snapped back into focus. Yes, Marinette? Is everything okay? Yeah. Why do you ask? Well, because you aren't acting normal? I mean normal for you. Not that you're ordinary. Far from it. You're extraordinary. I'm the one that's ordinary, just normal, but then what is normal anyway? And Marinette, he exclaimed, breaking through her ramblings and grabbing her hand to still their frantic wavings. Her hands were warm, the slight calculus on her fingers surprising him. How did she get them? I'm fine, really. Then why did you ask me to be your partner? Usually you and Nino. Her voice trailed off. She was blushing as pink as a peony, staring at the joined hands. She was trembling. Oh, crackers! Was he making her uncomfortable? I just wanted to spend more time with you, he said, embarrassed, hating that he could only tell her half-truth. Marinette hated liars as much as Ladybug. Not that it was really a lie. He loved spending time with his friends, and Marinette was special amongst them. She made him feel warm, special, and wanted in a way that he didn't really understand. If he hadn't been worried about Plagg causing problems and getting them into trouble with Ladybug, Adrien would have been over the moon at the chance to spend time with her. You're special to me, Marinette. I just wanted to work with you, to spend time with you. Is that okay? Her eyes softened and her nervous smile relaxed somewhat. She gave his hand a gentle squeeze. Of course, she answered with a shy smile. Would you like to go to my lunch for house? I mean, house for lunch. Papa said he's making quiche today. Adrien couldn't help but grin. She remembered he liked quiche. That sounds amazing, Marinette. Thanks. Hopefully he would have enough time to get Plagg back and still enjoy lunch with Marinette. Thank you very much for listening to part 2 of The Princess and the Cheese. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Make sure you go and send Jheqia lots of love for writing it. Make sure you send me lots of love by smashing that like button. Comment down below what you think of it and what you think will happen in the next part, which will be coming out next week. And don't forget to check out Plagg's Day Out, which is accompanying this. So it's like side B. It's Plagg's POV of what's happening during this story, which is really fun. And make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on these stories and other new stories that are happening at the moment, and other ones and other one-shots to come. And I hope you're good, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!